So, in light of all the recent drama, the resurgence of race issues in South Africa again, with the saga around the schoolgirls and hair, I thought I'd just share with some of my friends my thoughts and my journey actually with race and racism. I grew up in apartheid South Africa in the 70s. Apartheid was pretty much alive and well. And from a young age, I began to realize, the difference in the groups. It was us versus them. In South Africa, we're categorized as colored, mixed race, but we were categorized as colored. And we very soon learned that we were different. We were somehow better than blacks and somehow worse than whites. It was all pretty confusing as a kid, but we soon got the hang of it. Once we noticed we had better buses, public buses, for example, than black people, but nothing like what the white people had. At an age of understanding, maybe 13, 14, really started to sink in when I would read the signs on the beaches, whites only, or on public toilets, whites only. And as I moved deeper into my teens, it started to build up a very deep resentment towards anything and everything that was white. By the time I reached my late teens, I pretty much hated white people, all white people, because they represented everything that was evil and wrong with the world. Stereotypes are bad, eh? Sure. I think we all at some point subscribe to them and believe in them. And ultimately, I think we're all victims, at least in the South African context. And maybe Americans can relate to it, but I imagine the world over. It's just that it was institutionalized in South Africa. Racism is all over. I think one of the most sinister things about racism is that not only does it separate people, but it gets the victims to often buy into what they're told. I've often thought about it that it has to be of the most sinister things ever to get a black person to believe they're actually inferior to a white person because of pigmentation. I mean, how fucking bizarre is that? And that's what apartheid did. And while the forefathers, or at least the founders or the monsters that dreamt up the system are long dead and buried, the after effects, they live on forever with us. Still, in modern day South Africa, 20 years and more into democracy, racism is alive and well in so many parts of our beautiful country. Especially in many of those communities, we were divided into basically 4 race groups because there's only 4 groups of people. White, black, colored, and Indian. That was the classifications. So many of these communities are still alive and well. And if you go into these communities, you get to see that for many of these people, those prejudices, stereotypes, are still so alive and well. It's like stepping back in time into